Your gut isn't just for digestion, it's your second brain, and it's making decisions for you right now. And we're going to be talking about that when we talk about the real VIP in your life. It's your stomach, and it controls more than you think. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your host, Scott Patton. Joining us, as usual, Martin Patella, health coach. Martin, how are you doing today?
Good. Hey, listen, I decided to do a demo.
A demo? Awesome.
Demo. What goes on in your gut is actually reflected on your face. There's a map. The Chinese people understood it, that, for example, a different body part, the hello dogs, is reflected in your face. So, for example, when you have an issue in the small intestine, it's up here. And you notice I have a red blotchy spot here and a blotchy spot there. That's small intestine. And the large intestine is along here. And wouldn't you know it, see this little blotchy spot? That's like a large intestine protesting. Guess what I did on Mother's Day?
What did you do on Mother's Day?
Went visited with my wife, who's the mother of my daughter, who's the mother of my 2 grandchildren. And guess what we did? We ordered in food from a restaurant I've never eaten at before. Well, it hit me. The next day, I had an elimination that was different in consistency, speed, and smell. And today, on the 3rd day thereafter, the gut says, well, baby, that's what happens. Food in the gut, on your face.
So that's how you can tell.
Yeah.
But what about your attitude? What about your thinking? How does that work?
Well, I took Masterpiece commercial. I took Masterpiece, and it calmed me down. It's a vibrational that raises my physical vibration. So I'm well beyond and over the whatever the heck's going on in my gut as far as my emotions go. But I am disappointed about the fact that I'm still very sensitive in my gut, right? Actually, this is worth mentioning. I lost my oral tolerance to wheat when I was about 55. That's 18 years ago now.
So North American wheat has a bad impact on you.
Yeah. Yep. Can't touch it.
But you go to Italy and you chow down on all that beautiful bread, no problem.
Yeah, it's a fact. And the main reasoning, of course, is that the American wheat has twice as much gluten and also is laced with glyphosate, which is an antibiotic, which kills the microbes in your gut. And there goes your entire terrain.
Another way of putting it, the opposite side of the coin, is that the wheat that is grown in Italy and used in their pizzas and pastas and breads is grown exactly the same way it was grown in Roman times 2,000 years ago. So when you go back to the original wheat, the original process of growing it, which it does not involve spraying it with herbicides and pesticides, Martin, is fine. So yeah. I think one of the things that happens, Martin, is when we get rid of the poisons, when we put them back, the body goes, whoa, like, no, don't do that to me.
Right. Yeah, but the other point is that once you break a jar, even if you glue it back together, it won't work as well as it once did. And fortunately, I'm a broken jar. The mercury the most toxic things you can find or you can do to a human body. I had a good dose of that. So that wrecked me on the inside. So even though I undid most of the toxicity, I'm still damaged.
Right. Well, okay. So I would think of it slightly different. And,
All right.
and this is my analogy, okay? When I was in my 20s, I would go out with my buddies and I would have 2 or 3 beer every day, night, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you relax, a little bit of a buzz, no big deal, not getting drunk or anything like that. Today, I haven't had a beer in 6 months. And I
Yeah.
had 1 beer in 6 months. And then the previous year, maybe had another beer and
Okay.
might be a sip of wine in there somewhere too. So in other words, I don't
Not
drink
much.
any alcohol. If I have a beer now, I'm pretty much sloshed. So because my body is like, we're doing great without alcohol. Thank you very much. Don't want it. Don't need it.
Mm.
And I'm more sensitive when you
Let me try a different take. I think that your liver is not metabolizing alcohol nearly at the same speed as what you used to when you were 18 or 20.
Well, that's possible. I've had 2 liver incidents that were very, very bad. One in my early 20s and one 10 years ago.
Right. And they both took you down a notch. And the last one, 2 notches, not just one. Right.
Right.
And I had the same story. When I was a student, I would go out with my buddies and I could put away a bottle of wine,
Yep.
0.75 liter, whatever that's in ounces, 26.
Yep.
I did that, no worries. I would take 6 pints of beer, which, yeah, I could do it. Zero chance of that today. So anyway, I got quite.
The whole idea makes me feel ill, right? Like the whole idea of drinking 6 beer, I'm like, oh my God, am I going to be?
I got broken in my 20s. I actually went into this. It was called hyperbilirubinemia. Bilirubin is the yellow pigment that is released by the liver when it's decomposing red blood cells. It's supposed to recycle blood cells and make bile out of it. But when it's failing, you turn yellow. It starts with yellow sclera, and then yellow skin, and then yellow hands, and all of that. Well, you remember.
Same as jaundice?
Yeah, that's called jaundice in plain English. Yeah,
Okay.
yellow. Canary.
I've been yellow a couple times. No fun.
Yeah.
Prefer. So let's talk about the gut-brain connection, because it's connected in more than one way, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I sometimes think, Martin, that my stomach, or what's in my stomach, controls me far more than I like to admit. And when I notice it the most is 8 o'clock in the evening, when I know there's nothing sweet in the house, and I am opening every cupboard 5 times, looking at nothing, dishes, right? Did you hide it behind the glasses? Like, where did you put that chocolate?
Yeah. Did I forget a few crumbs somewhere in the plate?
Right. That's right. And so my brain has nothing to do with that. That is all my stomach saying, find this. And maybe it's not my stomach. Maybe it's the bacteria.
It's not the stomach. It's the bugs living in your gut, and they are driving the bus.
Yeah.
But so let me talk about this way. Leaky gut will equal leaky brain, will also equal leaky immune system. I have a colleague who fell, I think skiing or skating, something, had a concussion, serious brain problem. And it followed that she had a bad gut event that went right soon thereafter. So it's a connected thing. If you break your gut and eat bad things, your thinking will be affected, and that's either the recall or the cognition, right? The processing power and the recall power both will get affected when you have a gut problem. But if you have a brain injury, you will actually have also affected what's going on in the gut. So connections. The most important one really is this: chewing. When you're chewing your food, you're actually letting your signaling system, which is the gums, the tongue, the whatever, they are sampling what you're eating. It's letting your body know what to do when it gets into the stomach, and then the stomach, more processing and so on. There's this connection back and forth, signaling all the time. Yeah, 90% of your dopamine is made in your gut. 50% of your serotonin is made in the gut. So,
wow. So like George says, it's a definite connection.
oh yeah.
So how can we manipulate this connection? Because I feel like we are being manipulated into eating poorly. You know, you watch the commercials on TV, and even if it's a McDonald's commercial, they've shown that people watching a McDonald's commercial, even if they don't get a Big Mac, they go get something. And so we're constantly being tempted to eat foods that are not necessarily good for us, not necessarily helping us in terms of our mental states, because this is also about the stomach and the brain. What can we do to, aside from stop watching TV with commercials, what can we do to kind of reverse this thing? So if you're like me and at 8 o'clock, you're like, get something sweet in my mouth. What can we do?
I think the number one issue is the microbiome. So strengthen that. Make sure you don't drink chlorinated water. Make sure you don't drink glyphosated food. And then what? And then
so
put
make
humic
sure
acid in your food. Don't go to Mexico where you get dysentery.
Guess where I am, folks.
And guess what you got?
Guess what I got last week?
Yeah, the exotic E. coli that you are not familiar with, right?
Well, I don't know if it was E. coli, but Kevin has a great comment. I knew gluten can be a problem, but I did not know we had twice as much as normal. I did buy noodles from Italy, and it did not cause me the problems of American stuff.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! All right. So basically, probably from our mouth all the way down to our gut and out through our back end is like a jungle. And what we've been doing is clear cutting the jungle and letting weeds grow. So we need to put stuff in there that's going to support the good stuff and kind of cut back on the bad stuff.
Yeah. Scott, this stuff is so effing finicky. Like, for example, you're alkaline in your mouth, you're acidic in your stomach, you're alkaline in your small intestine, most alkaline right where at the outlet where pancreas squirts in the sodium bicarbonate, and then it slowly gets less alkaline until it hits the cecum, and the large intestine is more acidic. So alkaline small intestine, acidic in the colon. And you should be checking your poop. Who cares about the urine? You should be checking the pH of your poop. And if it's any less acidic than 6.5, you're in trouble.
So what I got out of what you said was taking by sodium carbonate to be more alkaline is not necessarily a good idea, or taking something that's acidic, not necessarily, like, in order to change your pH, right? Like, because it's got to go through 7 or 8 different places before it gets to where you want it to get to, right? So what you really want is you want to have good nutrition. We keep talking about, eating real food as opposed to junk food or highly processed foods, and let the body do its thing.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you the simple story of poor old table salt, sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is white crystal. You put it in water, it dissolves. The sodium separates from the chloride. They go each other's ways. And sodium is taken to the pancreas, where it's waiting for the carbonic acid, which is made from water and carbon dioxide. And you make sodium bicarbonate, also known as baking soda. And that is sitting in your pancreas. But the chloride ion, the Cl of the NaCl, that's waiting at the stomach, where it will be combined with hydrogen to make hydrochloric acid. That's going to make your stomach supremely acidic. Like, it goes all the way down to like 2.0, down from 7. which, by the way, that's 10 times each, right? Like each number, like going from 7 to 6 is a 10 times more molecules, and from 6 to 5 is now 100, and 4 is 1,000, and 3 is 10,000, and 2 is 100,000 more acidic than neutral. And that's how you digest the food, and that's what will come out of your stomach, so the acidic slurry called chyme, and it gets hit by the sodium bicarbonate from the pancreas to neutralize it. So if there's not enough sodium bicarbonate, if there's not enough salt, you're not going to digest correctly. Go figure.
I get the feeling that our body is like this very huge factory that takes something at one end and it does all these different processes, and something at the other end, a TV or a Walkman or a car, comes out, like it's, but you have to have everything working correctly for it to all, like imagine putting a car together, but you run out of bolts,
like
it's
that.
Not gonna, it's not going to happen.
Try to make a car, no rubber.
No rubber, right?
Yeah.
And Kevin, he was talking about gluten before, and he said, I got Lazarus for my kidneys. Thank you for that.
All right, great. Yeah, that's the right application, and yes.
It'll help. You must have a balance. Yeah.
So, okay, so we were talking about the connection of the gut to the brain. So importantly, if you have the wrong kind of bugs in your gut, you will not make the right kind of neurotransmitters. So you'll be consistently either under dopamine or under serotonin. If you're under serotonin, your mood sucks. If you're under dopamine, your satisfaction with life sucks. That's not funny at all.
No. And depression is a major, major issue. So this is a lot of people with a lot of problems.
Yeah. Right. And then, of course, there are just so many. It's just so bloody complicated. I don't even want to try and put the whole science on it. But it's all the individual steps. Get all the right stuff. Like, for example, you may need to have more glutamic acid in order to tame your gut. We have this funny little product called bicarbonate, MET. And the bicarbonate is great at alkalizing the small intestine, where it's supremely needed so that you can have the right kind of bugs working in there. Put that message back up, the one about the butyrate. So here's an important point. The bugs that live in small intestine are supposed to be making butyrates. So, and butyrates is what feeds the large intestine, the colon. So if you don't have enough alkalinity in your small intestine, you're going to have problem at the back end. So if you want to fix it quick, you can take butyric acid, which we do sell. We sell tributyrin for people who are having trouble. And it's really helpful. So...
See, one of the things that I love about working with Martin is he and I take a totally opposite approach to things, right? Because he's telling you take this for that. And all that's going through my mind is stop drinking Coca-Cola, stop drinking alcohol, stop taking seed oils, stop with the refined sugar, flour, salt, and stuff like that, and super processed foods. Go back to fruits and vegetables and meat and water.
Scott, let me explain the perspective. I'm running the business and I'm watching the bottom line, and we make money when I sell stuff. So I'm always thinking in the additive manner. But if I really take the large perspective, I should be subtractive. I should be making sure that the people that I'm supposed to help are not doing the wrong things. That would be the subtractive method of interactions.
Well, and it's both parts, right? Like it's you have to stop digging the hole. This is one of the things you say I love is when you have a problem, stop digging the hole, right? That's the first thing. And have a fast or whatever it is. And then what do you need to put into your body that's going to help your body recover faster or better, right? So Strataflora, since we're talking about the gut, you know, Lazarus, I love Lazarus. I have 2 bottles a year. I have about 10 bottles a year of the Exela line, and there's always Strataflora in there. The Lazarus a lot. I'm on power.
Yeah, you take Iridessa a lot.
And Iridessa a lot, yeah. And you, when I don't take it, you say, you know, you do really good on Iridessa. I've been watching it for 20 years, so I know, and then I'll order it and I'll have it, right? But what these things do is, like we've talked about this before, they followed an orangutan around for a couple of days. Every day he was taking a little of this, a little of that. 400 different types of plants and grubs and whatever that he ate. So how are you going to get that when all you have is bread, lettuce, some type of sandwich meat, eggs? You know, it's going to be 10, 20 things. So you get the Iridessa, all of a sudden you got 350 different types of I was going to say animal, of stuff going into your body. And plant stuff, right? So you want to.
I was looking at that, Scott. I was building a salad and it was awfully short, you know. Okay, green onion, cucumber, radish, avocado, lettuce. Well, thankfully, I had 3 kinds of lettuce in my spring mix. I added
tomatoes.
No, I didn't put tomatoes. I had red beet. I had red beet and sauerkraut. Yeah,
sauerkraut.
But
which, by the way, that's another thing, right? Like fermented foods, we don't eat nearly enough. But you should look at sauerkraut, look at kefir. Whatever other things are. I mean, I don't even know what are other things that are fermented, right?
Fish sauce in Thailand.
Fish sauce. Yeah.
In Sweden, they make something fish. I forgot to take the phones out of the house again.
And I forgot to tell you, like I know better. George says, an interesting study in this semi-complicated subject. We do have another comment from my friend in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, Stan. So we're going to take a break from this topic because it's about his back. What can he do for his back pains? He's been having this problem for the past 2 months. Don't sit so much.
Well, the worst problem for low back pain is worry. If you think that you're carrying the world on your shoulders, if you have financial problems or existential issues, your emotions are going to be triggering you in your back. Okay, so Stan, I feel for you. I don't know what's going on in your life, but for some reason, you're carrying the world on your shoulders, and it's wrecking your back. The next thing, if I were to fix you with a product, I would give you amino acids. We sell them as Theraminos, and they are needed to repair the discs that are not holding together. You see, the discs are the spacers, or like tires between the 2 hard vertebrae. And if they get weaker, it's as if you had an underinflated tire, and that underinflated tire will become wobbly. And as it wobbles, it bulges out, and it pushes on the nerves, and it gives you back pain. So detox from heavy metals, get the aminos to try and repair you. Do the right kind of exercises. You have to look them up. I can't demo it here on the small mic,
do some stretches.
Yeah, specific ones. There are these, you do them lying on your back, and you do this, the number 4, 1 knee up with the foot on top of it, and there are these particular torques with the whatever. Low back stretch exercises. Look it up online. It's out there.
I would add, go see a chiropractor. I went to see a chiropractor for years, decades, and I used to have pain between my shoulder blades because I would be hunched over the keyboard and at my lower back, and I haven't really had it, partly because I am always in a different type of chair, so it's a different type of strain, but also getting back, stretching your shoulders back, looking at your posture, and also looking at what you eat, right? Like if you're eating...
I'm not so sure what will trigger me food-wise to get low back pain. The only way how I know to really for sure get a low back pain is if I hate my job.
So the emotional aspect of it.
Yeah.
So moving on, Kevin says, I have a sippy cup of sodium bicarbonate for when I have heartburn or the stomach just feels funny. I try to use less of the calcium carbonate.
Right. Well, look, whether it's calcium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, we're still doing the CO3, the carbonate. One is with sodium, the other one's with calcium. You're not making that much of a difference. The calcium carbonate is Tums. Sodium bicarbonate is baking soda. Either way, what you're doing is this. The stomach is not digesting well. And when you shove something alkaline into it, it will open the bottom valve, right? Like you have a top valve, bottom valve. They shut close with high acidity and they open with alkalinity. So if your stomach is not acidic enough, you will be regurgitating. You will have heartburn, GERD. But if you have, for some reason, a wish to get rid of it, then you alkalize the thing quick and it will open and you flush that stuff down into the small intestine. You have gotten rid of the problem out of your stomach and you have just pushed underdigested food into the small intestine, hoping that they'll cope with it somehow. If you do it now and then, it's not the end of the world. If you do that every day, you're going to cause yourself long-term problems.
Right. Like anything else, overdoing it, right? George says, I take enzymes before I eat and after also. That's a really good point, George.
That's a really good insight. The enzymes are needed to digest food for sure, especially if it's cooked.
And Kevin comes back with, I have the tributyrin X.
Tributyrin, yeah.
X, shame on me, but I forgot to take it when I eat a meal. That's awesome.
It's okay. So tributyrin helps with the gut, with the colon situation. Yeah.
And Stan comes back with, how can I get them imported in Kenya? Well, you can just go to the site and go.
I'm sorry, Stan. I don't know how I can get it to you. You know, like this is the horrible thing. Look for free-form branch chain essential amino acids together with some MSM and together with some molybdenum. I don't know how you can put it together. If you can arrange shipping to Kenya, we'll be very happy to send it to your American address. There is a really interesting business called myus.com, myus.com, and they transship to any place in the world. Maybe they have Kenya on the list. I don't know that. But if you can figure out some transshipper to Kenya, we'll send it there. You know, get a U.S. address with Kenya forwarding, and it'll find you. I don't know. I mean, international shipping is a pain in the, you know what.
We're experiencing that right now, just going to Mexico because it's stuck in customs and there's no number to call. And now I've got a number to call, but then it's like, what information do they need that they don't already have? Who knows? So that's my job today. When Martin and I get done here, is go see my friend down the street and ask him if he can phone. We'll find out.
Scott, we know what they need. You have the paperwork. You just need to deliver.
Okay. Right. Okay. So George says he hopes it helps Kevin. And Kevin says, yes, this should bring it to the front of my thoughts. Thank you, George.
We are running a health club here. This is so sweet.
We are. Okay. So let's tie this all together because we're coming to the end of our time for today. Your brain and your gut are connected. You need to look after your stomach, which means you need to put good things in your stomach. And there's lots of things that we're missing. And that's where Life Enthusiast comes in, right? Martin, people can get a hold of you and say, look, this is my situation. You can give them some coaching and some consulting on what they need. They can then move from there.
Or call George. He knows lots. The big question I have is, are you digging your grave with the fork? Honestly, it's a big deal. It's what you put on your fork is what will cause you the pain.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
And
well, balance, microbes, feeding the microbes, drinking enough water, drinking structured water, not chlorinated, not glyphosated, not pesticided, not plasticized, all of that stuff, not toxic, not unnatural, good stuff in, you'll be better off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're in a bad mood, probably something to do with something you ate.
So sometimes it's just a combination of things. We talked about it in the past, but it's the carbs versus fats. For one of you, fats will put you to sleep. For the other one, it will be the carbs that will do it. And watch the balances.
That's right.
Yeah.
Take inventory and then know that in the next couple of days, you might be feeling it. Not always an hour later. Sometimes it's a little bit longer. All right. Thank you, Martin, for taking time out of your busy day to share this knowledge with us. We really appreciate it. Head over, everybody, to life-enthusiast.com. There's tons of information there on all sorts of different topics and concerns that you may have. And we really need to take control of our lives, right? Like you're constantly told things. You're always told the same thing when it comes to the mainstream media. You're never given a contrarian view. And some of the stuff on the site will be contrarian, and some of the stuff will be like, you're not doing enough of this. And it'll be a real help and a real education. And yes, sometimes you can regurgitate, and we will definitely regurgitate this information over and over and over again, because repetition is really, really important. And being around people who want to be healthy, who want to live a good life is really important, because when you watch the way most people behave, they're self-destructing in slow. It's like a car wreck in slow motion. And you can just see this is going to be a huge problem, and they can't see that they're about to crash. So with that really optimistic outlook on life, we'll say goodbye for this week and see you next time, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Hey!